Hello, fellow writers. I'm Lewis. That over there is Tolkien, and you have found the Scripturient Society.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to your favorite writing podcast. That over there is Karissa Harlow, aka Catherine, her dark alter ego, aka Lewis, love of my writing life, and I am Ash O'Rourke, aka Tolkien. We have missed you so. It feels like, again, it's been a long time since we've done this, and it's not been. We didn't skip last
It's
week.
been the normal week.
It's been a
It
normal
does
week.
feel like it's been a while though.
It does. I mean, I know I have a puppy over here, so every day feels like 1,000 years because we're
Yes.
just constantly making trips outside and getting up at night. So that's fun. You guys almost got to see Ruby. I almost caught a little yawn on Mike, but she decided to wake up just before I was going to hit record. She was napping, so now she has to go directly outside so she does not pee all over my house.
Yeah.
And so my brother's taking her outside right now, and so she will not be making an appearance, but maybe I should post a picture of her.
Definitely.
Anyways, my new puppy's name is Ruby, and I'm in love with her. She's precious. She's a little
She's
golden
so
retriever
cute.
angel. I know. Oh, look, we're both sporting braids today. Good for
I know.
us.
I noticed it. Here, this is my first attempt at French braids.
I did French
And
braids too.
oh my
Oh
gosh.
my
See, it did
gosh.
not turn out as terribly as expected, but it also didn't turn out as well as hoped. So good middle ground for
I've
me.
been doing
Yours looks
French
fine.
braids for years, and that's exactly how they always turn out for me. I'm like, not
Yeah.
as good as expected. Could have been worse.
Yeah, I just wanted to be like at the crown of my head and to just like frame
Hmm.
my ears as it goes down. And I was like, this
Yes.
is good enough.
You're like
So
close. It was
yeah, close enough.
close. Yeah. A
Yeah.
desired result achieved, at least. I mean, that's
Hmm.
what I just wanted my hair to be, not super, super frizzy, and I didn't want to put it in a clip again. And whenever I brush my hair dry and I don't intend to immediately wash or dye it, I have to put it in a braid because it gets
Yeah.
so voluminous. And so I was like, we're doing it. I didn't want to wash it. So I brushed it dry and I put it, and it always gets
Yeah.
this weird little curly tail at the end,
Yep.
which is
So
so
mine
odd.
isn't like the pigtail ones, and the ends never
Mhm.
look the same. This one's all like bouncy and curly. This one's like frizzy and weird.
Yeah,
So
exactly. Yeah, I did a
yeah.
single braid, but I should have done the two because it's way cuter with two, and I don't know why I didn't. So you
Well,
look cuter than me again.
well,
Also, I
I
just love
like
your
the one braid,
background.
so
Ooh,
thank
my
you.
background will be nicer if I do
Yes.
my floors. You guys,
That's
I
right.
didn't even ask Carissa about her week. I'm just telling you about mine.
It's
And so I'm
okay.
just
Go
going to
for
finish
it.
getting it out of the way because I already started it. I've decided I am going to tear out the disgusting, they are like if a red velvet cake was a carpet, that's what my carpets look like. This is an
Hmm.
old manufactured home. And so we have a puppy now. And so with puppy and house training, I'm like, if one more if there's one more accident on these carpets, I'm gonna lose it. I feel like I have a candle going right now. I feel like my room smells like dog pee. She's only had a
Yeah.
couple accidents in here. She's done pretty good, all things considered. But like the smell of animal urine is so hard to remove. And I know the cats have
Yeah.
peed in here before. That's just since we've lived in this old house. So I am going to tear out the carpets. It's a lot of work, but
That's
we're going to
fair.
put down the cheap peel and stick flooring because the whole house is coming down in a couple of years. So it's not worth like super investment. But you know what? I didn't hate doing it the first time. I kind of enjoyed it. I feel like I made all
Yeah.
the mistakes I needed to make, and like I could do this one faster now. This is also the biggest bedroom in the house, so it'll be a bit more of a chore. But
Hmm.
and I found these square tiles, so we're doing those because they're cheaper. They're half the price of the really cheap ones I got last time. And honestly, if as long if I can just wipe them clean, I'll be happy. I don't care if they look ugly. I don't care if they match. I don't care if they make the house look worse than the house started. I just need to be able to clean my floors and not have my room smell like pee. So
Yeah, that seems fair. That's a
yeah,
good goal.
so I think so. So that's what I'm going for. And
Yeah.
then there'll just be one more room. And then I'm also going to paint my walls. So that's what I was thinking. Your background is always so nice and pretty. My background
Thanks.
will at least not be this ugly. It will be a pale green color, I think.
Yeah. Oh, I
Yeah,
love green.
I
I
know.
mean,
It's
mostly
good.
irrelevant, but I really like green.
I do too. And we have
Yeah.
kind of a thing where all of the rooms are like a slightly different color. Like the living room and kitchen, which is all sort of connected, is like a blue. And my mom's room is yellow. And my brother's room and my room are, my husband and I's room is not touched at all. It's
Painted.
gross.
Yeah.
It's the way that it has always been. So it needs work just to make it livable for the next couple of years, but
Yeah.
not too much work because then that's a waste of money and time.
Right.
So
I
yeah,
mean, 2 years is not a short period of time, so it should
no, it's not.
putting a little bit into
Javi,
it is fine.
exactly. Javi thinks we can do it in a year. I'm like,
Mm.
I don't know about that. But at this
Estimate
point,
high.
Yeah, I'm like, let's estimate for 2 years. And I feel like 2 years is ambitious.
Mhm.
So it all just depends, obviously, how money shakes out, because that's the world that we live in. So we'll see if we can do it in the 2 years. I think that that's a reasonable timeline, unlike 1 year, which I don't feel is reasonable. And regardless, even if it was a year, I still don't want to live in a room that smells like animal pee for a year.
Yep.
When I could pay like, I think it's a little over $100 for all of the tiles I need for the floor.
Yeah.
And just the loads of manual labor. So
yeah, and I mean, it's December and I'm thinking back on all of the things that happened to me this year. A year is a really long time.
it is a really long time. And I
yeah.
kind of would like to have a peaceful place to exist in my house. And right now my room
Mhm.
is just so gross. It's like embarrassing to
Yeah.
have people see it. So anyways, my mom called her room junky. That's what inspired me today. I walked into her room and she called it junky because it was messy. And I was like, your room is the nicest room in this
beautiful.
house. It's beautiful because I did the floors and the walls in there so it'd be nice
Mhm.
and comfy for her and like not feel disgusting. And I'm like, whenever I walk into here, it makes me realize how disgusting my room is. And my room is clean. I don't know if you
Yeah.
can't really see it, but it is picked up. I have a dress that's
Mhm.
drying back there and stuff, but like it's picked up. It just always looks gross. So yeah. Anyways, that's pretty much been my week, has been puppy and not much sleep because puppies wake you up, and trying to write, but really hard to do because puppies are like, pay attention to me, pay attention to me, pay attention to me, or I'm going to pee on the carpet again. And I'm like,
Yep.
fine.
Flashback to 6 months ago for me. So I get it.
I'm just late to the game, but you're old hat at this now. But how has your week been? How are your baby puppies?
They're good. Luna did the quietest throw up of all time today. It was really weird.
I didn't expect that for you to say that. I just taken a drink of wine.
Literally, she was coming down the stairs. She paused and then she kept going. And my dad was like, did she just throw up? I'm like, I didn't hear anything. There was throw up on the stairs, and it couldn't have been Aurora because Aurora was with us the whole time.
So delicate. She's the lady.
I know. And then as we're cleaning that up, she did it again. And we turned around and we're like, what the heck?
She's so graceful. Oh my God. She just a little demure, but not even with that, not even that much sound.
She's like, I don't want to bother you. I just need to do this. So
not to be a bother, but I did just throw up right there. Okay, you'll take care of that. Thank you very much.
Got it. I'll go eat. Literally seconds after, she's like at the food bowl. I'm like, what is wrong with you? Are you okay?
She's like, now my stomach is empty. I'm hungry again. That's what's wrong with me.
It was so liquidy too. So it wasn't even like she threw up food. I don't know what happened, but anyway, that's the bodily fluids of a dog for you today.
I guess my days have just been bodily fluids. And here, I'll give you guys some even grosser than throw up info on my dog. We could not get her to stop eating sticks and acorns and pecans. And so because she's teeny tiny, she can't digest it. So it's poking little holes. And so there's been like just a little bit of blood in her poop for like 2 days. And it's all better now because I've been watching her like a hawk. But I've been like, do I have to take you to the vet? Are you about to cost me hundreds of dollars? And are you in pain? But she acts like she's perfectly fine. So I'm like, you're acting fine, but you're stressing me out. And now, hooray, praise be to God, her poops are normal. All it takes is watching her like a hawk, because she will the second that you take your eyes. Even if you're watching her, she'll still really sneakily like something off the ground into her mouth that she shouldn't be eating. So stressful. But so your dog throw up story is the least of my concerns. I'm like, it's not even that gross, whatever. I think throw up is way less gross than poop. So I even hate the word. I don't like saying it.
I guess it depends. I don't know. I might think the opposite, but maybe that's just because that's what we've been dealing with.
I wonder. I don't know. I wonder what people think. I've always felt like poop is more like, if I had to clean up any just random poop versus throw up, I would rather clean up throw up. I don't know why. I that might be that's a weird. Fair. I know a lot of people are like, I can't do throw up. I can't do throw up, and I'm like, I'm fine with it. Throw up, blood. I'm fine with it. Poop is disgusting. It's disgusting.
I'm not saying you're wrong. I'm just saying I feel differently. I feel like there's no wrong answer.
I'm just curious. There's no wrong answer. This is just me being like, I wish I could do a survey. I'm curious to know like what most people think is gross or not. There's definitely no wrong answer. It's all disgusting.
It's all bad.
Yeah.
I don't know if you have a lot of dog toys for Ruby yet, but we got a lot of like the like ropes and stuff for them
Mm-hmm.
to play with, and they have decided that this is food, and so they will sit there and eat them, and then the strings come out in their poop and
Oh
like
my
cling to them,
God.
like it, you know, it's all one string.
Ugh,
And I'm like,
gross.
just stop eating the toys. That's
Just
all you
stop
have to
eating
do.
it.
Because whenever it happens, it's especially Aurora, she kind of looks at you like, oh no, something's wrong, and I'm like, literally all you have to do is stop eating your toys.
Oh my God. That is
Ugh.
super funny. Yeah, she has a little rope toy. She doesn't play with it a ton. She's a
Mhm.
bigger fan of chewing on things she shouldn't be chewing on because she's very like
Yeah.
mouthy and teethy right now.
Yes.
So we're trying to work on the not biting thing. But
Mhm.
she also she's obsessed with crunchy leaves, which are the only thing that I'm like,
Yes.
if you eat a leaf, it's not gonna kill you. Eat crunchy leaves, go for it, I
Right.
guess. It's not a stick, you know. I can't
It's like
stop her from eating everything.
biodegradable, and it's not going
Yeah.
to poke anything in them. So,
Exactly. So I'm like, I guess if you have to eat a crunchy leaf every now and then, I'm not going to die. It's not going to kill you. But she was trying to eat
yeah.
gravel when she first got here. And I was like, I'm going to have a heart attack.
Please
Stop
stop.
it. Yeah.
Ugh.
No, she's a big fan of trying to eat things that are completely inedible, except for the
Mhm.
toys so far. So
That's
we'll
good.
see if that continues. She
Maybe
does
she
try to eat the
realizes they're
stuffing out of
toys.
the cat toys. She has played with the cat toys, and some of them have the stuffing coming out, and she has tried to eat it, which is not
Right.
ideal. But I'm like, at least it's soft. I mean,
Yeah.
I
It's
don't
not going to
know.
do too much damage.
The string thing is horrible. That has
Yeah.
happened with Lily because Lily will eat any
Mm.
kind of string. I did
Yeah.
see because Flora, my house is just, it literally feels like I live in a zoo.
The
I like
zoo.
was waving goodbye to my mom yesterday as she was leaving the gate, and I was just standing there, and there was Ruby playing around, this tiny little dog, and then Winchester, who's an
Mhm.
enormous. He's still a puppy though. He's
Yeah.
8 months old, but huge. And I had him leaning on my legs, and she was running around, and the guineas were running across the field, and I was just like, and there's one, no, and Raoul was over there too, the outside cat, and I was like,
Mhm.
there's 4 cats inside. I was like, I live in a zoo.
Yeah.
Bye. I'll just be here taking care of the zoo all day and trying to live a life, which is
Oh my
difficult.
gosh.
And I'm like, we should get goats and a donkey this spring. I think it's a good idea.
Let's just lean into the zoo thing. Just get more
And
animals.
exactly. And we need to like quadruple our chickens minimum and just
Mm.
hope that some of them make it because they're
Yeah.
just too edible. Yeah.
It's kind of like the way that humans saw having children back before like childbirth was less deadly. It's like, let's
Yeah.
have like 20 kids and maybe 10 of them will live.
Yeah,
And
exactly. That is how I feel about chickens. I mean, that is, and that's, I know it's mean, and I do love my chickens and I don't want them to die, but the world is cruel, okay? And
yeah.
I've had chickens for many years, and I have
Yeah.
learned the sad truth that they are just too damn edible to expect that
Mm.
you won't have losses. And from a purely practical standpoint, we need them to return on the investment a little bit. Eggs,
Yeah,
please. So if they
exactly.
all die and we keep having to raise them, we're just paying to keep raising chickens to basically
To
feed
die.
the wild animals around
Yeah.
us.
No one's benefiting from this. The chickens don't like it because they're dying. You don't like it because you
Mm-mm.
don't get eggs.
I guess
Something
the
has to
foxes
change.
in the area are like, heck yeah, dinner
Yeah.
times 100. And I'm like, please stop. I don't want
These are
this.
our chickens. Go
Yeah.
find some
Also,
wild animals to eat.
exactly. Also, Brownie, our last puppy, who is
Yeah.
so happy, by the way. If anyone wants a Brownie
Aw.
update, she now lives with my sister and my sister's husband and their little baby, and she loves
Mhm.
little kids. So she is like in
Aw.
bliss. She is so
Yay.
spoiled, so spoiled. And she is best friends with Grayson, my niece. And I'm just like, this whole thing was extremely traumatic trying to find you a new home. And I'm feeling like a horrible dog mother, but you're
Mhm.
happier than you've ever been. So I guess it was all
Yeah.
for the best. But
Good.
I still sometimes see how happy she's in pictures and I'm like, feel guilty. And I'm like, why, Ash? This is best for her. But
Yeah, this is a
anyways,
good thing.
it's a
But
good thing. But
yeah.
yeah. Anyways, I co-opted your week again.
No,
You
it's
keep telling me
okay.
about your week. I'm so sorry.
My week, I don't know. I've been a little bit on the verge of panic for several days in a row now. Just I know I've kind of talked about it a little before. It's because I have this surgery coming up.
Oh, that's
And
right. Yes.
it's not scheduled or anything, but if any of you have ever been on healthcare.gov, November 1st, every other day
Mm-hmm.
they email you. And December 1st
Mm-hmm.
on, they email you like every day, maybe twice a day. And I
Yeah.
already have it taken care of. I am fine. But every
Mm-hmm.
time they email me, it reminds me of like all these appointments I have to make and the fact that this is
Yeah.
going to happen. And then I question myself. I'm like, did I get everything figured out? And then I had double check and it's fine.
Mm-hmm.
So I've just been like kind of stressed about it. And it's weird because I did have to make some appointments and everything because I have to go. I have a cardiologist and I also have like a pacemaker technician that I have to go in to see, and I have to coordinate that. And I'm switching cardiologists because my old cardiologist retired. So now I'm going to like one he referred, and I'm sure she's great, but I've never met her. So it's like weird getting an appointment.
Yeah.
And it's just so weird because I want to get it done and I will get it done. But part of the super irrational part of me is like, once I get this all done, then the surgery comes. So part of me is like, just push it, just procrastinate a little bit. And this is frustrating to like everyone on my mom's side of the family. Like my mom, my dad, everyone's like, just get it done. I'm like, I hear what you're saying and I know you're right, but no.
But I'm not going to do that.
I'm not going to do that.
Me with my wisdom teeth surgery, 100%.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, I'm just going to push it a little bit. And the thing about this is that I have no choice. Like I could push a wisdom teeth surgery. I could push anything else. I can't push this. No. And I know that. And my MO is typically just to push things as far as they can go, but I have to do this and I hate it. And it always makes me feel like I'm 6 years old again. And so it's like, I do feel like sometimes I'll just go into more detail about this that no one asked for. I feel like if you develop some kind of a health issue as an adult, I feel, of course, it's still scary. I'm not saying it's not. I'm not saying that you're better off or anything like that, but I do think that you handle it like an adult and you're rational about it and you understand, you know what's going on, and that's why it's scary. But if you are a child when something happens, it's scary because you don't know what's going on and you're just afraid of the pain because you know it's going to hurt. And I feel like you never grow out of that. I can't speak for like other kids that went through issues and stuff, but like that's still the mindset I'm in. I'm still so irrational about it. I know it's fine. I know that everything's going to be fine, but I'm still like so scared. And it's so stupid.
When is it again? When are you doing it?
I don't know. I don't even have an appointment. I think it needs to be within the next 6 months.
Okay.
But
that's what I'm saying. So do it, plan it. And like I said, I will plan to come out and hang with you afterwards. So you have something to look forward to, and we'll just hang and I can just work from home, from your home. And then we could also like write, and I don't like leaving the house either. So it'll be great.
It would be perfect. And all of that is great, but it's still just like in my head.
Doesn't really help.
It'll help like afterwards. Right. Yeah. But until then, the thing in my head is this. So I don't want to complain because the issue that I have is very manageable, and it's not the kind of thing that I have to deal with on a daily basis. And it's fine. You know, like I'm grateful that I'm alive and that I was born in the century I was born in and all of that kind of stuff. But it still sucks. So I've just been I woke up I think it was Monday. I literally woke up out of a dead sleep, just suddenly panicked that I would not be able to find a doctor or a surgeon. And so I was like so freaked out about it for no reason. Literally within an hour, I was fine. But I was just randomly concerned about it. And so that's just been happening more and more lately. And I really don't think it's going to stop. I don't think there's anything I can do about it. I just have to deal with it for the next 6 months to a year.
You could ask your mom to pretend to be you on the phone and have her make the appointment for you. That's something I would do. I'm
not going to lie. She did do that for one of my appointments because I was so I'm trying to get to this new cardiologist, and I called 3 times and I got the answering machine. So I left a message on Thursday. I called again on Friday. I didn't get anything. So I left another message on like Monday or Tuesday, and I still wasn't hearing anything. So my mom called the like major like hospital center that she works in and got like a different person to essentially send a message telling them to get back to me. And it was fine. I don't know. Sometimes she offers and I'm like, that sounds great. Just go for it.
That's funny. My mom and I pretend to be each other on the phone all the time. So then I'll call back and be like, hi, I was speaking with Heather about, and my mom is like, no, you weren't, but okay.
It was probably Ash. So yes, you were. Hello, I'm Heather.
You were. Yes. I remember that conversation. Absolutely.
But anyway, I mean, it's all fine. It's just scary, I guess. So I shouldn't care. It should be fine.
I think it's reasonable to have jitters, you know, especially because you have childhood memories behind it. But even if you didn't, I would still think it's completely normal for you to have jitters. So,
I mean, I don't know. I think so. And I think part of the problem too is no one else in my family has any kind of like a childhood issue. Every issue they have is like in adulthood or they're perfectly healthy. And I don't think that they fully understand. They're great. They love me. They would try. Like if I wanted to talk about it, they would let me. But I just don't feel like anyone really gets it. And I don't know anyone that's had an issue like that. And so I'm like, am I crazy or is this super normal? I don't know.
I don't know.
So
and me with is it more normal to think that poop is grosser than throw up?
exactly.
I don't know. We need to do some survey.
These are the questions.
These are the questions. Mine is a much less serious question, but
Fair.
I think we should do some surveys.
I agree. Maybe I'll do it on TikTok. Super off topic. Who knows who will respond?
I think you should. I think you absolutely should. Javi likes to go survey says whenever he says something and I disagree with. Like he'll be like, all girls this. And I'm like, oh yeah? How do you know? That doesn't sound right to me. And he's like, survey says. And I'm like, survey of one. That doesn't count. He'll be like, well, I know some people. And I'm like, I know some people too.
Right. Yeah. If you only ask people you know who are going to agree with you, you can say anything is certain.
Survey says. It's like, oh, okay, I'll never trust a survey again.
It's true. I am very skeptical of surveys. I'm like, I need to know the details. How many people did you ask? What demographic were they? Where did you do this? How many surveyors were there? Were the surveyors biased? Like, I need more information.
Did the people being surveyed know what the purpose of the survey was?
Exactly.
No, I totally agree. It's Mark Twain, I think I don't know if it's actually his quote or one he's just credited with, but I think it's him because it sounds like him. But it's the quote is there's lies, there's damn lies, and then there's statistics. And I just think about that all the time I see a statistic or a survey. I'm like, yeah, this could be really useful information, or this could be really dangerously skewed information.
Yeah.
All
no
based
in between.
on the setup. Yeah, there's like nothing in between. So
yeah, it's so true. Stuff. But yeah, anyway, so that was my week. I do have healthcare if anyone cares. The internet is convinced
healthcare
I don't.
Besties.
Yeah.
Hooray. Yeah. I always get emails from them too, even though I'm like, hey, I haven't used you for 2 years. Although last year I just didn't have insurance at all. And now I have insurance again. And it's awesome. I already went to the doctor. I went to the doctor and I was like, hey, am I okay? And they were like, we don't know. And I was like,
cool.
Okay. It's like, what can we do about that? And they're like, multiple blood tests, and then we'll inject dye into your body and we'll like check you that way for scar tissue or something. And I was like, okay. And they're like, it's a risk of infection. And I was like, okay. And they're like, cool. That was it. Like I thought they're gonna be like, so do you want to do it or not? But they were just like, oh, I think waiting to see if I was gonna say, oh no, I don't want to do that. But I was like, this is my only option to figure out what's wrong with me, right?
Doctors are so weird because I feel like they know so much about what they're talking about that, and I know this is the stereotype of doctors, but I think they forget that there's like the human behind stuff. So they're like, this is what you need to do. And sometimes I'm like, I don't want to do that. And they don't even give you an option. I'm like, on my way to the room, I'm like, wait, can I opt out of this? Like, I'm an adult. I'm allowed to do that, right?
Something?
Can I say no? And I'm always like, I feel like I can't say no, but I totally can. But they're so confident. I'm like, I guess they must be right. I guess I'll just do what they want.
Exactly. They're like, there's a risk of infection because of the injecting of the dye, blah, 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 blah. And I was like, okay. It was weird the way she said it. It's like there was like a bit of a pause as if she was thinking I was going to be like, oh no, I can't do that. But she wasn't giving me the option to say no. But it's like she expected I was gonna. And I was like, well, I need to, I assume. I assume this isn't optional.
Yeah. Is this like, are we doing this now? Like, what's up?
I was like, yeah, when is this happening? Anyways, I had multiple blood tests first. So exciting. Yeah. But hooray for having insurance. If y'all don't, I highly sympathize. I'm sorry. It's really rough to not have insurance or to pay way too much for insurance. Been in both situations. So arguably still pay too much for insurance considering I have military insurance. And I know it used to be good, you guys. I have heard all the praise songs sung for military insurance. It's pretty damn difficult these days. I can't even say if it's good or not because it's so damn difficult to get them to even just say, yeah, you are part of our insurance. And I'm like, I know I am. Tell the doctors that. So confusing.
Please, it's like a secret club, but you're like, I need this to be out in the open. Please tell people I belong to you.
Exactly. And they're like, but do you? And I'm like, you tell me. Oh my God. I'm like, I pay you every month. Do I?
I just need this to be clear. Just tell me one way or the other.
They're so difficult. Yeah. I have some some army wife friends who are like still trying to like get bills paid off from like well over a year ago because like their status changed. So then like your status with the insurance changes and it's like different types of military insurance. And I'm just like, how? Well, over like I have a friend who she's about to have her second baby. She's still trying to get TRICARE to figure out how to pay the bills from the first baby that TRICARE should be paying. But
Right.
it's like they're like, well, your status changed because blah 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 blah. So anyways,
It's like, great.
yeah.
That is another thing. My cousin had her baby, which I'm super excited about.
Yay! Oh my gosh, I
I
think
know.
today is Javi's cousin's due date. Katie, if you're listening,
Oh,
I don't think you are. I don't know why you would be, but Katie, I'm so happy that you're pregnant and happy due date. I don't think you've had the baby yet. I think I would have heard.
it's so
But
cool.
yeah.
Interestingly enough, this baby's name. Do you want to guess what the baby's name is? No. You're never gonna.
Georgina.
I mean,
No, I'll never
no.
guess it.
It is a girl, and her name is
Oh.
Catherine. And I know, like me.
Yeah, like
Not
you,
me,
like
but
Katie, like other
yeah,
Catherine, like hot
exactly.
astrologist Catherine. I think there's
So many
another Catherine too.
Catherines.
God, there's so many, and I love it.
Yep.
I was trying to convince Javi if we had a girl to name her Catherine, and he said no. So
Oh,
I tried.
maybe middle name.
Well, middle name is going to be Dragon Slayer is the problem.
Unfortunate. Maybe a second middle name.
I think you're onto something there. I think you're
There you go.
absolutely
Just do an
right.
Albus Dumbledore thing. Do 5 names. That way you don't miss anything.
Yeah. Ooh, I like this. Okay, cool.
Mhm.
I'm gonna suggest it to Javi. He's gonna say no. I'm gonna wait till he's out of the room and just tell the doctor. We've decided upon the name. The child's name will be.
Bring me the certificate or whatever it is where you put the name. Bring it to me.
Bring it to me now.
Yeah.
Has
But
the
yeah,
father
so
proved
that's
this?
pretty
Yes, he's fine.
exciting.
Yeah.
I don't know what it is about this cousin of mine. This is her second baby. She looks fantastic within minutes after delivering. Like,
that's infuriating.
She sends pictures. I know. It's like she'll pose with the baby and people are like, this is her 5 minutes later. I'm like, 5 minutes. She looks beautiful. She looks what I look like on a normal day. So not that I'm saying I'm beautiful. I'm just saying she looks so normal. Thank you. But I wasn't trying to say that. I was just saying she looks a normal person instead of someone that just like pushed a baby out of her body.
Yeah.
So I'm so excited. It's great. They don't live here, so it's not like I'm going to meet this baby anytime soon, but I'm excited.
But exciting. So. There's another one in the world. Oh, I guess I can tell this pod because Maddie said I could tell the other pod. My sister is pregnant again.
Oh my gosh, yay! That's so exciting.
A second, either niece or nephew. Yeah. So I'm very excited. I'm curious to know what names they're thinking of. And I think I get to go with her next week to the ultrasound, which I'm like super psyched about because the last baby, they were across the country and we didn't get to be there for anything. So I'm super, super psyched about it.
Is that kind of like why they moved? Like, is she relatively far along, or was that just
not super far along? It was completely coincidental. She was like, I'm not feeling so great. She was like, they were literally on the drive down here and we were babysitting so that they could move all their stuff. And she was like, I'm not feeling so good. She's like, I just found a pregnancy test. I forgot. She had just like collected all of her bathroom stuff in a bag and just left like with it. She's like, I was looking through my stuff and I realized I just this pregnancy test. And I was like, well, if you're not feeling good, you should just take it. You know, you never know. And then when we when we they got the movers or whatever, unloaded all their stuff in the apartment. Then we brought baby Grayson over, who we'd been babysitting. And they, of course, very happy reunion and all that. And she goes, and they have a very nice apartment. And she was like, you guys, there's something in the oven. I don't know if it's just like this fancy, like nice new oven. Like, what is this? Can you guys like look at it? And she sounded so genuine. And it's nice. And so I was like, I don't know. I mean, we're poor people. I have no idea. Like maybe it is a
what does this oven look like?
I don't know. And so my mom and I go and open the oven and there's a hamburger bun in there. And I immediately was like, oh my God. Caleb immediately got it. My mom was like, ew, did somebody leave a bun in here? And I was like, she did not get it. So I was like, silently
that would be me.
I know it would be. I was silently screaming, losing it. Maddie and Dom were excited. They saw me, and Caleb and I were like, "Oh my!" Because we wanted Mom to get it on her own.
Yeah,
and it took
You're just
her
like
a while.
grabbing each other, like, "Can you believe it?"
Exactly. And she finally got it. So we're very excited. It was a precious little announcement and completely unexpected and great. So hooray! Congratulations!
So exciting.
So,
yeah, congrats, Maddie. That's awesome.
I know. I love the biz. I guess we should get into the episode of actual writing related stuff, as fun as this is. I know that y'all just really came here to hear from us anyway. So I guess we'll get to the least exciting part of the episode. Let's do
you're not here for
the part that you guys didn't show up for. What about book recs?
I still haven't read anything.
Wow.
So here's the thing too, because I've stopped doing, I went on like a little hiatus from the Catherine's Corner episodes, which if you guys listen to those, you've probably noticed. And part of the reason was that I was going to try to read and kind of build up a little bit, like some extra episodes so that throughout next year, I can still do them every week and I can just have some episodes kind of like laying away for weeks I don't read anything.
Yeah.
And I have not been doing a good job at that because I haven't read anything. So I don't know how well that'll work. We'll see. I still plan to do those episodes again, but
Yeah,
I don't know. Maybe I just needed a break. That's fine.
probably.
Yeah.
You
so,
read and write so much. I'm guessing you just needed a break.
Yeah, so that's fine. Everyone's kind of talking. There are all these jokes kind of going around about like your Goodreads year in review or whatever on TikTok
who
and
knows
stuff.
what mine is? Yeah,
I know, and people are making jokes like, "This year I read 65,000 books, and these are my top 200." You know, like they're kidding.
Oh my gosh, yeah,
So,
that's super funny.
although one day, I hope one day when I have a baby, which I hope will happen eventually, I'm just gonna read all the picture books, and then I'll be like, "This year I read 10,000 books," and people will be like, "No way!" And I can be like, "Yes, I did. It's absolutely amazing. You should do it." And it's like Goodnight Moon and like Fine School and stuff like that.
Yeah, I bet I would easily double my book count if I included books that I've read like to Grayson or something this year. Yeah. That's so funny.
Hack the system. Do it.
That's a good idea. Well, I can do a book rec, not from a recent read because I'm currently reading through The Three Musketeers by Alexandre Dumas. And it's very, very long and I'm having a hard time getting through it, to be honest. So we're doing that on That Pretentious Book Club after our Story Sirens production studio Christmas party, our second annual one. So our next episode, just so you guys know, TSS listeners, is going to be our joint Christmas party with our sister podcast, That Pretentious Book Club. And then after that, we're going to cover Three Musketeers over there. It's very long, so can't book rec it yet because I don't know how I feel about it. But I thought an older book rec, I don't know if I book recced it before, I might have, but I've been thinking about it a lot, so I'm going to do it again. And I know that you book rec it because you book recced it to me. Illuminae by Jay Kristoff and Amy Kaufman. It is just such an amazing book. We did cover it on That Pretentious Book Club. So if you guys want to listen to that episode, it's there. I do talk about having a crush on a computer. No, it's not the first crush I've had on a computer before. So
this is not strange for me.
Not strange for me. Not out of character at all. But anyways, I because Caleb and I drove up to get the puppy. My brother drove me because I don't have my car right now. And it was super fun, but I was like, we were listening to stuff on the way there, like a podcast. I introduced him to my favorite podcasts. I introduced him to my libertarian one, Based Politics, by the way, which they're wonderful and very, very funny and down to earth. And anyways, so he was like, "Oh, we can listen to your podcast," because he hasn't listened to it at all. And I was like, he was like, "What would be a good one?" And I was like, I'm just trying to think of books that we'd covered on TPBC that he would have been into. And I was like, I guess maybe the Illuminae Files, but we didn't really get into it very much. But since then, I've just been thinking, what a great book that is. It is sci-fi. It is a YA on the edge of NA sci-fi. So amazing, written from two perspectives, but the best I think it's ever been done. The book is excellent. The audiobook is also one of the most amazing audiobooks that's ever been produced. It's got like sound effects and stuff. Like, it's so good. Highly, highly recommend Illuminae Files if you guys have not read it. And it is on my 2BR is to read the second and third. And like, they're at the very top of the other books I'm going to buy that aren't pod related. Right now I have no money because of holidays.
Yeah.
And so I'm hoping maybe January, or maybe not January, maybe February or March, I'll be able to buy them off Thrift Books. But I'm very excited about them. Love them. I assume, have you read the whole series?
Good. I have. And
is it all amazing?
It's so amazing. I also convinced my dad to read them. So my dad has read the first one and he's in the second one right now.
Does he like it?
I think so. He's kind of closed-lipped about stuff like that. I don't think he wants to admit that he likes it.
Oh my
God. But he asked for the second one. So,
That's so annoying. Javi does the same thing. Yeah. I'm like, just say if you like it or not. And he's like, it's fine, I guess. My dad does that mean that you loved it?
Yeah, this is a great thing, right? My dad read for my whole life. He had the only books I ever saw him read were Star Trek books. They had like a series and I think he had all of them or read them all at one point. And so I was like, I bet you would like this this book because it's sci-fi and stuff.
100%.
Also extra book rec. I think it's, what is it called? Is it on my shelf? It's Aurora Rising.
I've been wanting to read it.
It's the Jay Kristoff, Amy Kaufman. Like, it's not related to the Illuminae Files, but it's sci-fi and YA and stuff. And it's also really
love
cool.
it.
It's so
There's
good.
not enough YA sci-fi. And I think that sci-fi loses a lot of people because it can be really dry and overly technical, adult sci-fi.
Yeah.
That's why YA sci-fi is the perfect sweet spot for sci-fi. It's like like the sci-fi TV shows that do really well honestly feel like a YA sci-fi. So I want to see more of it, you guys. I don't know if the agents are looking for it right now, but I hope that they are at some point. I'm working on one right now, so I certainly hope so for multiple reasons. But
hopefully it'll come around in the next year or so.
Yeah, I hope so. Anyway, I feel like there's room in the reader headspace and heart space for it.
I agree.
Yeah. Anyways, what's the word of the week?
All right. Let's see if I can pronounce this right. Seriatum, Seriatum, Seriatim, and it means taking one subject after another in regular order or point by point. So if you're like in a meeting and you're like, let's take this seriatim, like let's just go point by point.
Interesting. Yeah. I like that. I have no idea how to use it in a sentence. I know. Besides the way that you just said, I'm like, I can't think of a single other sentence. But I know that you could,
in like maybe if you're making an outline,
battle plan,
you take writing
outline, the book, in a seriatum, You plan the book by seriatum. Would that be accurate? Point by point.
I think so.
Plan the book seriatum.
Take it like if you write in chronological order and like chapter by chapter. I know some people skip around. I don't do that. No, so maybe it could work if you kind of do what I do, what we do.
Yeah, exactly. If you write by seriatum.
Yeah, exactly.
I like it. That's good. Okay. Cool.
It, for no reason at all, it reminds me of the word verbatim, which I learned in 6th grade and have since latched onto as one of my favorite words. So like, verbatim as in like in the exact words.
In a even less related way, it reminds me of the word atrium. Don't know why.
Yeah,
shouldn't.
Nice.
I think verbatim was more closely related, but yeah.
I feel like high tier words, but they just mean something very simple.
Exactly.
So I like it.
Well, I like it. That's a good one. What about should we get into our theme
topic? Yes. Yeah. So last week, obviously, if you listened, we talked about the difference between antagonists and villains and how they're not the same thing, but they're related. So we figured we'd follow up with protagonists versus heroes and what the difference between those two are. And I'm going to start with a completely unrelated point, which is, why is it that an antagonist is a thing? You can also antagonize someone, but you can't protagonize someone. So why is that not symmetrical?
I feel like it's because the antagonist implies a level of action, like taking action. Whereas the protagonist really just has to exist and be the main character.
Fair.
I don't know.
There's not really an action associated because, of course, antagonize means to like irritate someone and to badger them and that kind of stuff.
And antagonist, so what would protagonize mean? Exactly. Antagonists like earn the rank of antagonist by being in the way, by actively being an obstacle. So protagonists, all they have to do is exist as the main character. So I'm thinking maybe that's why.
That's true.
But it does follow that there should be something like protagonizing, like what being a good person kind of would be protagonizing, except that not all protagonists are good people, but not all antagonists are bad people either. So,
I guess that does bring us to the point that a protagonist and a hero are different in the sense that protagonist just means main character, and they do not have to be a good person. They do not have to be a bad person. They can be anywhere in the middle. They can be morally gray. They can be deeply flawed. They can be, like almost too perfect, like a,
which is worse than a villain
Gilgamesh
for me.
Idea. Yeah. Yes. They can be anything. Whereas the hero, I assume you're going to say like the opposite of the villain. The hero has to have good moral standing and good moral qualities.
Or almost like at least a well-defined moral compass. I think a lot of heroes, their moral compass is not perfect because, to be honest, any authentic character is not going to have a perfect moral compass. I think Captain America is actually not a bad example of this. As a character, he has a very strong, very well-defined moral compass. Is he always 100% right? No, but he has a lot of strength of conviction, and I think that's kind of a difference is whether they're right about everything or not, a hero has a very strong conviction in their own moral compass. And I mean, so do villains, but villains, like we have said, villains are morally corrupted, so there's a difference. Heroes usually right about a lot of the big things,
Yeah, I would say too, villains are kind of focused on a particular goal, and then any action to get to that goal is justified to them. That's why they do bad things. Whereas a hero is probably more concerned about the way that things are being done and less about the goal at the end.
Yeah, it's true.
Potentially.
I think also it's very simple to boil it down at this point, but a villain, not that we're doing like a villain hero comparison because everybody knows, but I think the villain's motivation tends to be self-focused about how they feel or what they want. And a hero's focus tends to be about what they want for the people around them. Which is
more
different.
Selfless.
Yeah, a lot. It's more selfless. And that's the big difference between hero and villain. And also could be a difference between your hero and a protagonist, because a protagonist does not have to be selfless. I mean, let's see. I mean, it was inevitable that this was going to come up, but Kaz Brecker from Six of Crows by Lee Bardugo, everyone points to him a lot and they're like, he's basically like an antagonist is the protagonist, which we talked last episode why that's not really a thing that could happen. They can't be both. But he's not a hero either. He's also not fully a villain. He is he's his own antagonist, but he's not the antagonist for the story. He's the protagonist. He's kind of the main character. They're all kind of main characters, that crew. It's a multi-perspective book, but I would still say he's more the main character because he's kind of the leader. But all of that aside, Kaz Brecker is not a hero. He is very self-motivated. He does have moments where he makes decisions because he cares about his friends, but that's not saying a lot. He's very self-motivated, and his own selfishness actually causes some of the problems, which is why he's partially his own antagonist, but he's not the antagonist. That's kind of impossible, unless you're writing something contemporary, I guess. And even then, I feel like there's always more than one antagonist, which we talked about last episode. So guys, go listen to last episode if any of that sounds unclear. We'll probably muddy it up even more if you go listen to the last episode. Anyways, my popular, somebody texted me. Let's see. It's my brother who's watching my dog. He's just sent a picture of, it's a selfie with him and the dog. And it says, I peed 3 times outside and then pooped inside as Uncle Bob was following me around. Of course she did.
That's how it goes. You get one down and then the other falls to the wayside.
Yep, exactly. We did really good yesterday. So I woke up knowing today was going to be a hard day. Yeah, she's very happy with herself too. She's smiling in this picture, but she also looks a little worried. Like she's like, I'm a little bit embarrassed. My poor baby. I don't know if you can see this. If you guys can see our videos on YouTube as well, if you guys want to see this picture. It's a little blurred. There we go.
Oh my gosh.
That's my brother and my sweet little puppy. He's being a good puppy babysitter right now, and I'm very grateful. Anyways, but yeah, Kaz Brecker, not a hero, great protagonist. Honestly, I think he's the greatest example of this phenomenon that I can think of that most people know. He's not the only one by far, but he is a good example.
Yep.
Yeah.
I agree. I'm trying to think of maybe some other
I'm trying to think of like a classic hero. Captain America, obviously, he's a hero and protagonist. Mentioned him.
I think
not
too,
really a character.
Right. I was thinking like Harry Potter or Percy Jackson, which I know we talk about them a lot, but they're really good examples of everything.
And they're iconic.
Yes. And you all probably know what we're talking about. Because I do think that the chosen one trope tends to accompany a hero. I'm not saying you can't flip that if you are so inclined, but typically the chosen one is like a morally good person that is trying to like save everyone or bring down an evil or something like that. And that's kind of what Harry and Percy both do. And so flawed, they have their faults, but definitely hero material and protagonists because they are mostly the point of view characters. Harry Potter does branch into other points of view every once in a while, but it's mainly from his point of view. So
to go back to Illuminae Files, I mean, Katie Grant, who is more the main character in that book than the dude who I already forgot his name. That's how I know.
I don't remember his name either.
Katie Grant's amazing. Love her. She's more of a protagonist than a hero. She's not morally corrupt. She's not like a villain or even an antagonist, but she's not motivated by a concern for others' well-being. Like when push comes to shove, she's definitely like a good person, but that's not, being a good person is not her main motivating factor. So protagonist, unlike Kaz Brecker, she doesn't have that weird dark side that he has. She's not an antagonist in any sense, but she's not a hero either. So there's like a whole spectrum that your characters can be. But and maybe this is where I talked about maybe us doing another episode on this off the pod. I was talking about this. Maybe if we did an episode on the hero's journey, because every protagonist still has the hero's journey. So it maybe should be called the protagonist journey more accurately. Yeah, because not every main character who has that journey should be considered a hero, because they're not all. So there's a
They
difference.
don't need to be.
They don't need to be. And I think it's important when you're talking about your book. I guess the reason for understanding this importance is maybe understanding the expectations you're setting up for your readers. And also so you understand when you're talking about your book, either to a literary agent or another author or just people or your readers, that you give an accurate impression, because giving an inaccurate impression of your book in any of those scenarios is never, ever going to go well. Yeah. So, I mean, I would just refrain from talking about your main character as a hero if they're a protagonist and not a hero. And if they are a hero and not just a protagonist, don't just call them your protagonist, call them the hero. Right. That's when that would be an accurate word to use. So it's subtle, but important. I almost think a little bit less important as the antagonist versus villain for some reason. I think it's not as important as that distinction for some reason.
I don't feel like people mistake that as often. It's good to think about, and that's why we're talking about it, but I don't think people go around calling their protagonists heroes as often as they go around calling their
antagonists as villains. I agree.
Yeah, exactly.
I agree. I also think that villain has stronger connotations than hero, weirdly. I think that we throw the word villain around a lot less than we throw the word hero around. It'll be like second grader saves turtle from oncoming vehicle.
He's a hero.
Toddler is hero. And it's like, well, they did a sweet thing and that was precious. But does it make them a hero?
I know. You want to know a really, really unpopular opinion I have?
Yes.
I think the word, and this goes with hero, I think the word brave is thrown around way too much. And this kind of goes back to like the health condition thing. People often say that like people with cancer are brave. And I'm not saying that they're not struggling and they're not doing good things and like being strong, but they're not brave because they don't have a choice in the fact that they are going through it. Unless you somehow took cancer away from someone else and took it on yourself, I don't think that's brave. Brave is like going into a burning building and saving someone. Brave is taking an action that you don't have to take in order to save someone else. Like that's what I think of as brave. So people throw the word brave around all the time. Like, are you being strong? Absolutely. Other adjectives, for sure. I'm not trying to like put down people that deal with stuff in their everyday lives very well, or go through more than the average person. But like brave is the wrong word. And so
well, you can be brave and have cancer and just be brave and a personality. You'd be the same type of person who would like run into a burning building or whatever. Now and there's other kinds of bravery as well. Yes. But I agree. That's not the inherent thing. I think it's the way that you react to trouble, to difficult things make you brave. So maybe it's the way that you react to if you're diagnosed with cancer. Maybe if you react with, well, I'm going to do anything. I'm going to fight through anything. I'm going to try every treatment. I mean, that's a pretty brave response. So maybe it's more about the response. I don't know.
I guess I just associate brave with like selfless. So if you get cancer and you're like, I have to survive because I have to be there for my kids, that's brave. I don't know that surviving for yourself is brave. That's just self-preservation.
Survival. Yeah.
Nothing wrong with it. Absolutely.
No, it's good.
Try to survive. But I don't know that it's brave. So maybe it's just,
and it takes a lot of strength. Yeah.
Yes.
I think anybody fighting cancer has to have a seriously intense type of strength. I agree, but I do think that you're right. I think brave is thrown around in situations when there might be a more accurate word. Still other positive words, but maybe a more accurate word. And it's also kind of like brave second grader, blah, 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 blah. And it's like, yes and no. I mean, yes, a second grader who saved a turtle would be brave. Is that the summation of their character? Or did they do one brave thing? Is different. It's
debatable.
It is. And it's also kind of like how the word hero is thrown around a bunch. The word brave is thrown around a bunch. So if you want to have more of an impact, just in a vocabulary sense, maybe pick a different word like courageous, strong-hearted, determined, like describe, maybe use the persistent, the synonyms, not the synonyms, the adjectives that make up a person who is brave. Maybe delve into that more specifically. I think it's just an overgeneral word, to be honest. Hero is too. I think hero and villain are also overgeneral, which is why there's a problem, which is why we're having these episodes talking about what are the specific differences, because it's just an overgeneralized word.
Yeah. I do think that a hero should be brave. I don't know. Do you agree? Do you think that's a necessary quality?
Yes. I had to think about it because I was trying to think I was really thinking about it. I had to think if there was like a single character I could think about who is a coward who I would still consider a hero, because I can think of a lot of protagonists who are cowards and the protagonists, and they're great people, love them.
Exactly.
But they're not heroes. I do think that bravery is an iconic characteristic of a hero character. So
yeah, I agree. I think too, something about the hero is I'm not going to say it can't be in every genre, but kind of like with a villain, really a hero is going to appear in certain types of stories like fantasy or dystopia, sci-fi, where the stakes of the story are a little higher. I feel like can you be a hero saving one life? For sure. But I don't know that on a literary level, that would be the same qualification. I mean, running
Maybe
into
if
a
you like
burning building.
save lives for a living, like if you're a firefighter, but in the book you just save one person's life, even if it's not firefighter related, your job implies that you are willing to risk your life on a regular basis. Because even a villain might risk their life for one or two people.
True. Depending on who they were and if they had some kind of goal around them, or even if they did just have a good moment.
Or if it's their one person they're obsessed with, which is why a lot of like the really hot villain characters have like, it's that saying, it comes back to what is it? A hero will sacrifice your life to save the world. A villain will sacrifice the world to save your life. And it's a very packed statement. We could have a whole episode on that, just dissecting all of the interesting implications of that statement. But for the most part, the vibes are true. It's accurate.
That's pretty much the difference.
That's pretty much the difference. And that's hard too. And that's why I think I always think about Captain America, because I am a rebel at heart. It's true. I'm all for like individual liberty. I don't like a lot of authoritarian vibes. Like I don't really like rules, partially because I have a bad memory and I can't remember all the rules. I don't like any rule that seems impractical to me. I really have a hard time understanding the value of it. So I have a hard time sometimes with heroes because they do tend to be more structured, like with Captain America. But would I rather put Captain America or put a villain in charge of, some like big world issue? Even if I know that if it came down to it and my life was at stake and there's a villain who loves me so much, or there's Captain America who loves me so much, but the whole world is at stake if I don't die. I mean, objectively, I would rather pick Captain America. So it's hard because your hero character also does not have to be likable. Maybe that's something else to say. Harry Potter and Percy Jackson, we're lucky. Those are likable heroes. Some heroes are likable. A lot of heroes are not likable. So there is a way to have a protagonist who is a hero and is unlikable. So I think that's a lot of times too, is I think that people are like, well, my protagonist is an antagonist, not a real thing. But I think that what they mean is I have a really unlikable protagonist. You can also have a really unlikable protagonist who is a hero. Captain America and our personalities would not vibe. But would I trust him way more than a villain who I did vibe with? 100% yes. Because I'm not stupid.
The right call, Captain America.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And I can see the value in him. And would I even crush on Captain America? Probably a little bit, which is weird for me and my personality. But this is what I'm saying is your hero does not have to be likable. And they can still be a hero. They can still be objectively correct. People don't like people who are right a lot. And people don't like people who are stubborn.
Yep. I mean, if your hero's thing is that they are kind of morally upstanding, that rubs people the wrong way very often.
Yes, it does.
I don't want to claim that I'm the perfect person, but sometimes like the times in my life when people have gotten most upset with me are when I'm taking a stand on something on a moral grounds.
I can see that.
And it's like people do not like it because there is this inherent belief that if you're standing your ground on something, you are judging them because they're not doing what you say or agreeing with you, or that they are somehow you think they're doing something wrong. I think
somehow they're attacking you.
Yes.
You're just standing still in your beliefs, and they're like, "That's an attack."
Yeah, and you're like, "No, it's not."
You don't have to agree. This is just how I feel, and I'm not going to change my mind. And they're like, "That's an attack that you wouldn't change your mind." I feel so attacked right now.
You're just looking around. You're like, "I'm literally not. What are you talking about?"
Just standing here, just feeling what I feel, thinking what I think, and they're like, "Well, that's wrong."
And I do think that a lot of times heroes can/should rub the reader the wrong way, because I think that's how you get people to think about more things.
Realistic.
I think if you're trying to make some kind of moral point with your hero, then maybe you should make your readers a little uncomfortable and say, would you do this? Do you agree with this? Why not? Because in this situation, don't you think this is the right answer? And so heroes might make people uncomfortable. Protagonists can make readers uncomfortable as well, but I don't know that it's maybe as necessary.
I think protagonists tend to be more relatable than heroes. Heroes tend to be, I
they're
will
almost
say,
too perfect.
they're almost too perfect. And we all know those people in our lives who are almost a little too perfect. Like, I feel like, not that you're almost too perfect, Karissa, but I feel like if someone were to use you as a main character, I feel like they could write you as a hero. I don't know that somebody could. You're welcome. I don't know that somebody could take my personality and write me as a hero. I think I might be more of a Katie Grant, where it's like, she's not a hero. She's just a little bit more neutral, to be honest. Like, so you could write me as a protagonist, like as a decent protagonist with a decent moral compass, but I wouldn't come across like a hero. And that's okay. And we're two real people, aka this means that you can write completely authentic heroes and completely authentic protagonists. They're not the same thing, and that's okay. Neither one is inauthentic. I think sometimes when people try to frame a character as a hero, it can make the character feel inauthentic and vice versa. So maybe the real importance of understanding the difference is to know your characters, because if you don't know your characters, your readers are going to sense that, and it's going to feel inauthentic. And especially for your protagonist, very, very important for them to feel authentic. So just know, is this character a hero or a protagonist? And yes, they can be a hero and a protagonist, but they could also be a protagonist and not be a hero. So just know which one they are. And there's no better or worse.
Yeah.
And your hero is not even necessarily a better person than a protagonist. It's just a different type of good person. Like Superman, hero.
I'm thinking too, like, you could have some kind of a hero who is doing all of the right things. This kind of comes back, I think, what play did we do in Shakespeare? Is it Henry V or something? We had a discussion about the difference between a good man and a good leader, or like a good king. And how very often, if you look at presidents, if you look at kings in history, typically the best people made the worst leaders. And the good leaders were kind of crappy people. They have rocky marriages. They're not great fathers or mothers. They treat people sometimes poorly when they're like on an individual one-on-one level, because they're thinking so big picture, they don't know how to think small.
And what's interesting is I have a friend who's she studied constitutional law. She's currently finishing her lawyer's, what's it called? Whatever it is. No, she's in law school at the moment. She's gonna pass the bar. Do you call it a certification? I'm suddenly forgetting. What do you call it when you're like a licensed official lawyer? I don't know. Anyways,
I don't know.
It's so weird. Suddenly I'm like, do I know that word, or am I just forgetting it? Anyway, so she studied constitutional law. She's currently working on her degree, on her law degree or whatever. And
cool.
Yeah, it's cool. But she had said something once where I don't even remember who was president at the time when she said this, to be honest. And I think it could apply to literally any of them. But somebody was saying something on social media or something about how they disagreed morally with something that this president had said. And I said, I mean, that's true. I agree. I think that what that president said was morally awful, is a bad thing to say. I do not agree morally. And she said something that sticks with me. She said, people should not look to the president for moral direction. The role is not a moral role. It's to be effective and leadership. Yeah. Would it be ideal if the president of our country was also a good moral role model? That would be amazing.
Be great.
But that's not the purpose of the job. Like parents should be moral role models. Teachers ideally should be moral role models. Pastors should be moral role models. Like there's people in your community who that is their job. That's their whole job, is to be a good role model.
That's their point.
It's not the president's job. The president's job is to be an effective leader. They still struggle with that one. And that's the thing. Anyways, but that's something that I think about a lot, because it's always like, it feels like picking like the worst of the poisons when you're voting these days.
Yeah.
But so then kind of thinking about it like, okay, well, morality aside, because that's not the purpose of this job, who would be the most effective? That kind of makes it almost a little easier to like pick through sometimes. So I think about that a lot. And it's the same concept kind of goes for your characters, if that makes sense.
Exactly. And so, I think about that a lot with kings and how people are very critical of kings throughout history. And I'm like, you're not wrong, but also it wasn't their job to be a good person. It was their job to basically do what they did most of the time.
To make changes, basically, to make whatever changes they felt would, be in for the benefit of their people.
There is moral quality to that. I'm not saying that you should elect or allow a leader
to be
that's
immoral.
Awful.
No.
Exactly.
No.
But you don't have to agree with them 100%. And maybe it's better if they do have rocky marriages and they're not great parents and stuff, because maybe that means they're actually just better at the big picture stuff.
Yeah.
And maybe, people have different strengths in different places. Maybe leaders just shouldn't be married. I don't know.
Yeah,
But
exactly. Which is why your protagonist can be very unlikable. I will say, not even necessarily, and we've said this before, it's not necessarily hero related, but Emma by Jane Austen, the main character, Emma, is so unlikable. I wouldn't call her a hero character, although I think her community sees her as a hero, which is
she sees herself as a hero.
Yes, I should say, yeah, she sees herself as a hero, which is an interesting dynamic. But she's not. She's just a protagonist, but she is so freaking unlikable. So unlikable, but she's very effective. I think Emma would make an excellent leader. Would I vote for her for president? Maybe. Would I ever be friends with her? No, she's awful. I do not like Emma. I never have, never will. And you're not supposed to. I think Jane Austen wrote about Emma that she's the only protagonist that she knows she is the author is the only person who could love her. And I'm like, wow, bold move, Jane. But there's so much you can do. So don't worry, like, is my character too likable? Are they not likable enough? Are they too straight as an arrow? Are they too wishy-washy to be a protagonist? They can be whatever. If they're the main character, they're the protagonist. They don't have to also be the hero. They could be. I do Captain America. He's straight as an arrow. He's totally appealing. Kaz Brecker's the opposite direction, still totally appealing to readers. There's not like a right and wrong. It's just knowing your character.
Exactly. And I do think you want to make sure to give your hero some kind of flaw, even if that flaw is they're a great leader, they're a terrible family man, or whatever it would be.
Yeah.
Right.
Or I think Captain America's flaw is that he has good moral judgment, but he is too stubborn. He has a problem where he can't see from other people's perspective. Yeah. And I think that's often a problem for heroes because their moral compass is so well defined and they're so used to their moral judgment being generally correct that they have a really hard time seeing from other people's perspectives. So if you guys need if you need a flaw for your hero, there you go. But you can't just say, oh, this character has this flaw. This goes into just writing, just strategically writing. If your character has a flaw, that flaw should be evident in their actions and should cause problems for them, particularly with the hero. And I think protagonists that are just pure protagonists don't tend to have this problem as much, I don't think. But hero protagonists, I do think sometimes have a problem where the author will be like, oh yeah, this character is really stubborn and that's their problem. But then it never really becomes a problem in the plot. And it should be. Captain America Civil War, that whole movie is the fact that these two very stubborn characters can't see eye to eye. And they try to handle this big issue in a bad way. And so your character's stubbornness should put them at odds with the people. Captain America also, from the first movie, from the Avengers movie that he's in, not the first Captain America movie, I know that there's that one, but from the first Avengers movie when the whole crew is together, him being so steadfast on his beliefs and stubborn, it already has tension with other characters. There's already plot points that happen in that movie, fights that he starts because he doesn't agree. Okay. And so that's the kind of thing that should be happening. So don't just say my character has these flaws, I did it in the background work. The hero's flaws should cause problems for them. And that's the kind of that gets into what we said last episode, where every character should be at least a little bit their own antagonist, because everybody causes their own problems because of their character flaws. Right. So that should be happening, especially for your hero. I think that I feel like protagonists don't have that issue as much. Heroes sometimes do have that issue. So just be cautious if your character is a hero to make sure that they're causing their own problems.
I think a little to just like bring Harry Potter into it again, there is a certain strong antagonism within Harry himself as the hero, because he has the whole like dark side thing going on. He's like, maybe I am Slytherin, maybe I am the heir of Slytherin, maybe I am killing people, maybe I am doing all of these things wrong. And I think it's in the fifth one where he starts to even kind of yell at people and act out because, not to spoil anything too much, but because he's like, Voldemort's in his head, like literally. And so that part of him, I mean, that's a character versus self kind of an issue happening in a character and or in a hero, in a main character. And so that playing into the fact that he wants to do the right thing and he's trying and he has this big job to like save everyone and he wants to, but he still has that flaw that's hindering him. With a protagonist, I'm trying to think of good protagonist that's not a hero. I don't know, maybe like Clary Frey from City of Bones. I don't know. That's what's on my bookshelf right next to me.
I mean, I
Whereas,
think most characters, it's almost too
yeah,
general to pick one
it's not as
because most are.
necessary if it's just a simple protagonist that they have this like super dark side or this super
Mm-hmm.
big flaw. They need
Mm-hmm.
flaws because they need to
Yeah.
be like a person, but it
Shadow
doesn't
and
need to.
Bone, Alina.
Yeah,
She is a
exactly.
protagonist, not a hero. Although
Mm-hmm.
she does kind of serve a
She
hero's
has hero
purpose,
traits. Yeah.
she has hero traits. She ends up being kind of the hero of her country. And I
Mm-hmm.
think maybe by the last book, she's a hero
Yeah.
first. And you know what? And that actually makes a lot of sense. Hers is interesting because hers isn't really a hero's journey. It's almost like a journey to being a hero in the last book. And
Yeah.
spoilers, probably. So just know if you guys haven't read it. But in the first two books, she's more personally motivated and less of
Mm-hmm.
a hero protagonist. In the last book, she's not personally motivated. She is
Right.
actually, I say that first book, change that first book, and then second and third book, she's like, she
kind of
becomes this hero.
moves. Yeah.
Yeah. And actually, when she becomes this hero instead of just a protagonist, she does create a lot of personal problems for herself.
Yep.
Mal starts getting really weird because she's so
Mm-hmm.
focused on the mission, and she basically admits that, yeah, she would choose trying to save the country over him.
Mm-hmm.
Mal is not a hero. Mal would not do that. Mal is not morally gray, but Mal would not do that.
Right.
Which is very interesting because usually I feel like if they're a hero, they're kind of a hero personality from the start. And
Mm-hmm.
Alina
She kind of
becomes a
turns
hero
that way.
yeah, in the second and third book. And then at the point that she becomes a hero, she begins to create her own problems. Before she
Mm-hmm.
was a hero, she did not create, yes, she created her own like little bitty problems, but not like on a big level. She creates big plot problems. So maybe that's like a big difference. Even
I
if your
think
main
you're
character
thinking
is
too
not
big.
antagonistic.
I think that's the hero's problem is there's so much pressure and there's so much stress and there's so
Mhm.
much responsibility that you just inevitably make more mistakes, and those mistakes
Yeah.
have severely bigger consequences.
Yeah. Even if
And
they're personal consequences, they tend to be
Mhm.
huge consequences. Like, you
Mhm.
know, when politicians have affairs and ruin their whole
Yep.
family's lives.
Yep.
Yeah. And like Alina basically says, spoiler, something to the effect of that she's not going to be with Mal unless she can win this thing.
Yep.
That's huge. And it ruins Mal's life for 2 books because Mal's a whiny baby. But also makes Alina like it's crushing for her.
Mhm.
It completely changes her personal life and personal future.
Mhm.
So that's the kind of stuff that should be happening.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Whereas like with the simple protagonist, I don't think they need to have their flaws, and those flaws need to come up, but they don't need to be they don't need to necessarily have consequences for other people, maybe is the difference. They can, but they don't need
Curse. Ren from Tiger's Curse. So I talk about the series a lot. Love it. Is it the most artfully crafted plot and character dynamic? Not necessarily, but it's very fun and very interesting. And Ren and Kishan both, especially Ren, are your stereotypical hero characters. And Ren, from the second book onwards, creates pretty much all of his own problems because and he is a Captain America type where he is like, I have my moral compass, it is very well defined, and he's usually right, but he is so very like on the ball about it and completely unwilling to compromise that he creates so many problems for himself and for the other characters. It creates big problems. So he's another good character study. I think maybe another good way to figure out kind of what the difference is, so you can come to recognize it in other books and then you can come to recognize it in your own writing, because that's kind of the process, is to think about the books that you've read recently and the books that you're reading and think about, is this protagonist a hero or just a protagonist? And if so, what makes them that way?
Yeah, I agree. Also, I think the idea of multiple protagonists is interesting because I feel like you can only have one hero per book, but you can have multiple protagonists if they are equally represented, like point of view wise. I don't know. What do you think? I'm trying to think. I'm trying to remember the name of the book. What was it? It's something like darn, I'm not going to remember the title of the book. I'll have to correct this at some point. But it's a book in which essentially it's like 6 point of view characters or something. And they all are essentially heroes. They're part of this prophecy, and they like converge by the end of the book, and they're supposed to, like, I don't know, save the world or whatever. And it really didn't work for me because it felt too much like we were making them all the hero. And
Yeah.
it's too hard. I love a good like found family vibe, or where
Yeah.
people are backing the hero. And sometimes if you have people in the hero's group, sometimes one of those people is actually more important or more intelligent or really the driving force behind what the hero is doing. But
Yeah.
I feel like you need one hero.
I think so. Well, I think readers are single individuals, so they want to
Yeah.
connect more with a single individual.
Mm-hmm.
So same with Six of Crows and Shadow and Bone. There are characters who have some hero qualities, but there's only one like primary hero or even protagonist in the sense
Mm-hmm.
of Six of Crows,
Right.
because you want to connect with one character more than the others. And that's what people
Mm-hmm.
expect. Maybe it's not even that like it's better or not craft wise, but that's what readers expect and that's what readers like.
Yeah.
So why would you not give your readers what they like?
Right. You want to,
Yeah.
I mean, you want to surprise them, but you also
Mhm.
want to live up to their expectations as well.
Yeah, it's not about pandering, it's about understanding reader expectation
Mm-hmm.
and usurping them very intentionally
Right.
if you're going to.
Yeah. And because yet again, Game of Thrones is coming to mind, and how totally split the protagonist question mark. Like the first book is definitely Ned Stark, but spoiler, he's dead by the end of the first book. So then it just splits, and there are all these points of views. You have some characters that get one chapter in the entire series. You have some characters that have chapters in all of them.
Yeah.
Who is the main character after him? I think there are just multiple protagonists. And in that one, I don't know that there's a hero at all. But I do think that it's possible that if you have multiple points of view, Harry Potter is a good example of this yet again. Most of the chapters are from Harry's point of view. He is the protagonist. But there are other chapters in which for that chapter, someone else is our main point of view or our main protagonist, so to speak.
Yeah.
So
Same with Alina
I guess,
and Mal. And I was just thinking the story of Shadow and Bone told from Alina's perspective, Alina is the hero. Told from Mal's perspective, Mal would still be the protagonist and still not a hero because of who he is.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So you could also, something I wish would happen more, you can write a book where the hero is not the protagonist. You do not, the protagonist is just the main character.
I want
can be
a
an
book
extra
about
character.
like the sidekick. I want a book from like the sidekick's perspective.
I think that would be fun.
fun.
I think in that point, if you did something like that, you almost get a more accurate picture of the hero because it's from the outside, and it's probably someone that cares about the hero and loves them and thinks, 90% of the decisions they're making are good, but they're also going to be more honest about that 10%, and they're going to have loyalty and maybe questions and stuff that differs from the normal hero story. I think that would be great because your protagonist does not have to be the hero. You can have a hero in the story and the hero gets no point of view chapters or
I would say
anything like that.
Serpent and Dove by Shelby Mahurin, I think is not a bad example because the main character, Lou, is definitely not a hero. She is the protagonist. There is another character who we get his perspective on everything too. And while yes, he's more like kind of a stick in the mud, morally his compass is pretty on point. It's not that bad, to be honest.
Right.
Like he's not like a bad dude pretending to be a hero, which is often what we see in that dynamic. He really is a pretty good person. He really is a hero character, but he's not the main character. And it's interesting to see that dynamic. She's not quite like the sidekick character because she's they're not that closely related. It's a little different. But it is interesting because the hero is not the main character. Lou is the main character.
Yep.
It's very interesting. And I love that book so much.
Yeah. I think that's another main difference between protagonist and hero. Hero fulfills a very specific role in the book of this is the person that is brave, this is the person that has the moral compass, this is the person that is willing to sacrifice everything to save people,
including the people that they love.
Exactly. And that doesn't have to be your protagonist. You don't have to have a hero at all. You can have the hero but make the protagonist a different character. Protagonist just means main character.
Yep.
And if you're going to have multiple, I do think there needs to be really equal page space, like in the point of view of someone, for them to be considered like co-protagonists or something, which is very hard to
Otherwise
do.
it's the what? Deuteragonist? Is that what you call? Is that what it's called?
Good job. The Deuteragonist.
I remembered.
Because you need them to be equally spaced. Like when we say Kaz Brecker is the main character of Six of Crows, like he's the main character. I think it's because he has more chapters, or we just seem to spend more time with him, and so he feels like he shines a little bit brighter than all of the others, even though they also have point of view chapters and we get space in their head. So if you're gonna try to go for like 2 equal protagonists or even 3 or 4, one is either going to shine through as the main protagonist and the others are just point of view chapters, and that's totally fine. Or you need to spend a lot of energy on making sure that they get equal space and they have equal, not likability, but equal role in the story. And so they feel as necessary as all the others.
I agree.
And
I totally agree.
Yep.
It's making me think about the book that I'm writing now. I'm like, ooh, because
yeah.
I'm doing like multiple perspectives, which I don't usually do. And I'm doing it from third person, which I also don't usually do. And my main character is a character that I think that like, you know, the book talkers would be like, oh my God, the antagonist is the protagonist. But no. And I think I'm like, wait, I was thinking like, is she a protagonist or is she actually a hero? Which would be really weird. But I'm curious because simply knowing what your characters are makes a really big difference.
So you write them differently.
You write them really differently. Yeah. So I think breaking down all the characters and comparing your characters in your book might also help you see, is this a protagonist or a hero? So I think that's important. I think it's an important part of the background process, of the prep process for your book. I know that outlining is rough and that doing background work on characters is rough, but I think it is extremely important, especially the background work on your characters, because you'll write them really differently. If you go, this is a protagonist and hero, or this is a protagonist and there's another hero, or this is just a straight protagonist, there are no heroes in this book.
This is a morally gray protagonist. This is a villain protagonist. Yeah,
exactly. I think kind of like when you're making a character in D&D, you have to pick their alignment beforehand. It's important. You'll write them very differently. They'll come across very differently. So if you guys haven't before, just look up a character sheet for D&D. It's actually, I don't know if I've ever said that before. If you guys are struggling with character work, either to figure out what your character's moral alignment is, or just you're having a hard time coming up with content for your character's background, the D&D Dungeons and Dragons character sheets, you can look them up on Google, whatever. They are so detailed in all of the ways. They're so helpful. They have pretty much everything that you need to write your character. It's crazy. It has like strengths, weaknesses, character background, what they want, moral alignment. It's got all kinds of like great stuff that you have to fill out. So if you haven't done it, highly recommend.
It is good. I always like to think that there's a neutral good. That's not an alignment, but I often accidentally say it. It doesn't make any sense.
Are you neutral or are you lawful good?
I don't know. I don't think I'm neutral. I think I might be lawful good.
I think you're lawful good.
I think I'm lawful good, but I want to say neutral good every time because I don't like the label lawful, even though there's nothing wrong with it.
I
even
know
though
nobody
I'm like
wants to say that they are, but I think that you are lawful good, and that's a good thing.
Yeah,
I think Captain America is lawful good. I think Superman is lawful good. I think Katie Grant might be chaotic neutral. I think I'm or chaotic good. I don't know, one of the two. I think I'm chaotic good. There's a lot to be said for all of those. I think Iron Man is on the line between chaotic neutral and chaotic good. He's somewhere on that line.
Everywhere I see him, he seems to be
pretty chaotic neutral. But also that's something that a lawful good person would say about him.
That's fair. So, that's true.
Yeah. I think there's nothing wrong with it. And also don't think like your main character, if they're a hero, they're a stick in the mud. And lawful good does not mean that you're a stick in the mud. I mean, you're still very interesting. You have strengths, you have flaws. Same with chaotic neutral, chaotic good, or whatever. What is it? Chaotic evil is crazy. That's probably a villain. That right there is a villain. If you're chaotic evil, you're a villain.
Or the Joker. I don't know.
The Joker for sure. The Joker, yes. Chaotic evil is the Joker is chaotic evil. A lot of villains are. A lot of the crazy ones are. Lawful evil would be like Thanos, I feel like.
Okay.
Which is interesting. Has a very strong moral compass, but it's a completely twisted, completely corrupted moral compass, but very well defined. Thanos. Loki is just, he's a little chaotic, but he's not really evil. He's kind of just doesn't know what he's doing. Neutral. So maybe chaotic neutral.
Okay.
That's what I'm
believe
thinking.
you. I don't really see those movies or watch anything, so I believe
I'm
you.
a big fan of Marvel. I'm not a huge DC fan, but I don't know if you guys can tell. I'm like, oh my God, and Captain America and Iron Man. Black Widow is my favorite hero. She is who first inspired me to dye my hair red, I think, probably. So anyways, love them.
Does a hero need to be lawful good? That feels right.
It feels correct. I think
protagonists can be anything, but
protagonists can be anything. Heroes need to be lawful good. If your character's chaotic evil, they are a villain. They might not even be the main antagonist of the story, but if you have a character that's chaotic evil, it's a villain.
Yeah.
So again, D&D, it's the D&D moral alignment chart. Look it up.
Mm-hmm.
Great tool for deciding what your characters are. Because I do think a hero's whole thing is that they're lawful good if they're a hero.
Mm-hmm.
I think Alina is lawful good. I don't think she's chaotic good. I think she's lawful good. I think that Mal may be chaotic good or chaotic neutral. Is lawful neutral a thing?
That's what I was thinking. Lawful
I think
neutral sounds like him.
neutral, if that's a thing. I don't even remember if it is or not. I'm a horrible D&D player, which is sad because I'm about to start a new campaign. But anyways, so I think that's a great tool to use. Knowing what your characters are helps you write them more authentically. I do think that 99.9% of the time, if you want your protagonist to also be a hero, they should be lawful good, which is weird, but true.
Yeah.
So
I agree. And it is also true too that you can have people acting in like the hero capacity that are not heroes. You can have different people playing different roles in the hero's journey type of thing, or someone that is doing the right thing for the wrong reasons or something like that. But I do think that a hero, if we're going to get like really down into the definition, I think lawful good. I think brave, I think selfless, I think all of those traits have to be there, with, again, potentially this fatal flaw that is like a really big problem for them.
Yeah. I think that I'm trying to think, do you think heroes have an easier time doing the wrong thing for the right reasons or the right things for the wrong reasons?
Oh, interesting. I think I don't know. Let's see. So villains are doing the wrong thing for the right reasons.
For what they feel is the right reason.
So I guess heroes would be the opposite. So they would do
the right thing for the wrong reasons.
Right thing for the wrong reasons. Maybe. I don't know.
That feels like a villain too.
It does feel like a villain too.
So I'm
maybe
like,
they do. Maybe a hero just has to be convinced that they are doing the right thing for the right reason, whether or not it's true.
Yeah, I think that's it. They think that they're doing the right thing for the right reason. Yeah, it goes back to that lawful good thing. Yeah. And it's hard because if they're a hero, then they're probably right about that 80 to 90% of the time. They're probably majority right about that. Their judgment, their moral judgment is probably pretty reliable.
Yeah.
But it cannot be 100% reliable because that's not a real human being. And so that either 10 to 20% has got to be where they create all the problems for themselves. Whether they're creating problems in the plot or they're creating problems or like in the main plot or in like a subplot, like in their personal life, they have to be, that 10 to 20% needs to be creating conflict for them because that's called being human. And that is where sometimes I think lawful good and or hero characters can feel a little less than human. Yeah.
I agree.
Yeah. Anything else we have about protagonists versus heroes?
I don't know. I don't think so. I feel like we talked about things that were not protagonists and heroes a lot, but hopefully this made sense. Really just know the difference between the two so that you know which one you're trying to write. And you can do some experiments with that. You can look up the D&D thing, see if you think that lawful good description fits your character. If not,
name characters that you know.
Yeah,
I think
you
just
don't
think
have
about
to
how they
fit into
affect
that
their own
box.
story. Yeah, exactly. Just think about how your character's moral alignment fits into their story and their identity, how they think of themselves, how other people think of them, and how that creates problems for themselves. That's the whole point of knowing if you're writing a protagonist, a hero, a villain, an antagonist. Know who they are so you can think through what consequences their actions are going to have, positive or negative, for themselves or for everyone else.
Yeah.
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 Sweet. Stuff. Cool. Yeah. Well, how's your writing been going this week?
My writing's been good. I did the thing I'm not supposed to do, and I went back to book one of my series. And I know. I looked at the first 50 pages and I was like, I bet I can cut some of this. So I did, and I took out 2,000 words, which feels pretty good because it was at 97,000. Now it's at 95, which feels like a big deal.
Yeah.
I'm clarifying a couple things, changing some details. I've talked about this a little bit. I've decided the series is not going to be the first thing I publish, but one day I want it to be out there because I really love it and I want to give myself the proper time to do it well. So when things occur to me, I'm just going to do the edit, and I don't need to do the whole book and then go through the whole series like I have a tendency to do. I don't have to go through and change everything, and I don't have to stress over it. I just make the edit and then I move on. And then that over time will do what I need it to do. And so that's the plan. So I reorganized the beginning a little bit. I essentially cut 2 scenes and like incorporated them into the other scenes that were going on. So it's a little faster paced. It's kind of an experiment at this point. I don't actually know if I'm going to keep it for sure. it's so hard with the series because it's kind of like the City of Bones or Harry Potter or Percy Jackson. Like, how much time do you spend in the real world with the character like questioning if magic exists, and how fast do you just want to get into stuff, and how realistic is that difference?
It's difficult. Yeah.
I don't know if I've totally nailed that, because all the other books I've written just take place in the magical world, and so it's just a given. The characters don't need to be told anything. But this one, it is necessary that like they start, it's like a portal fantasy-ish thing. And so they have to start not knowing. That's like a huge point. I can't take that out. So I want to spend 50 pages or less on it, and I think right now I'm at 75. And so I just want to cut it a little bit, but I don't want to lose like the character building and the suspense. I don't want to get into it too fast.
Maybe take a page from your namesake Lewis's books, and there's like a bit of the like interaction between the two realms before the main like transition over. I don't know.
Exactly. Which is kind of what I'm trying to do. I'm like giving these like suspicious events, and they're like, that's weird. And then they kind of go on with life, and they're like, wait, but that's also really weird. So that by the time things are explained to them and it happens, they are a little more open to believing it. But again, like, is it too soon to say that within 24 to 48 hours, someone would be able to process that and believe it? Or is it too long to say it would take a week? You know, like, I don't know. So it's just a thing I'm experimenting with. And it sucks because I went through these first 50 pages. I had some good lines. There was some good writing in there. And I was like, ugh, I have to cut it. Because it's just not in the necessary scene. And I just saved it. I just saved it somewhere else, and that made it a little easier. So
you might be able to use it somewhere else.
Exactly. I already have an idea where I could use some of it, because there's like these two details from it that never really fully jived for me, but I was like, I don't really know what else to do. And I think they'll work better in a different book. So I'm just keeping the writing, and one day I'll go back and fix that. But for now, I'm like, you have to make the decision that's best for the story. And I'm like, you're such a good line, but you have to go. So I'm taking you out.
Yep.
But
that's the worst.
Yep, it sucks. But I did it, and it gets easier as you get distance from it. So so I'm just kind of trying to condense but not lose the suspense. That accidentally rhymed.
Ooh, I like that. Condense, but don't lose the suspense.
Exactly. So that's what I've been doing, and I'm not planning to spend like an exorbitant amount of time on it. I'm just going to do this edit, and only on these scenes. I'm not going to go through the rest of the book. It started actually because this is a thing I do world building wise that I think is really cool, is I give them like a certain style of dress. And so I have like this file with all of these, like, this is what they would wear and what they wouldn't wear, like the boys, the girls, the different like factions of like the different governments and all that kind of stuff. And I realized that I hadn't put a lot of that in book one, that I had really kind of only gone into detail with that later. And I'm like, I feel like that's the kind of thing you would notice pretty easily about people. You probably notice the way they're dressed is one of like the top 3 things you notice about someone first. So I feel like it needed to be mentioned more. So I was going through and doing that, and that's when I was like, I feel like I could cut some of this now that I've had some distance from it. So anyway, we'll see. It's an experiment, but it's going well. So
but it's good. It's moving forward. Your retelling that you finished, when are you going to start editing that to start querying?
I was just thinking about that. So I don't know. This, these are good problems to have, but this is the problem with writing 4 books in 1 year.
Which one do you work on?
Exactly, because I still really want to do one edit through my NaNoWriMo book that I did. It just feels off right now because I know what I need to change, and it just doesn't feel good. But that's not going to be my debut novel either. It's definitely going to be the one I'm querying now. The one I wrote in June, or the retelling. Like those are the ones that are like debut novel material. And so I feel like I need to focus on those. So if I get this edit done in the next couple of days, I don't know. It's hard to think of how motivated I'll be during Christmas. Maybe I'll start it in the new year, and that'll be a goal.
Yeah.
But I don't know yet.
Well,
yeah.
I do think problem to have. Yeah.
It's not. I think I need to send the retelling to you and Kendall, because the thing I'm struggling with most about it, you could probably read at this point. I haven't read it in a while. I'm giving it space, but I do feel like it's a pretty good first draft to the point where I could send it to you and not be mortified.
I want to read it so bad.
Okay,
Please.
maybe I will send it to you, because the thing I'm struggling with most is the ending, because the original book, Lord of the Flies, right, is a standalone. It's a classic. And this is a series that I'm writing. So I'm like, how do I end this book? Because I want people to know there's more, but I also, like, I guess, spoiler, they don't leave the island. And that's how the original book ends. So it has to be a different ending.
Yeah.
So I don't know, maybe I'll send it to you and Kendall, and you guys can tell me what you think about the ending.
Please do. I want to read it so I think about your retelling all the time, because I'm like,
gosh,
God, I want to read it so bad. And I got to read some of Spoon's, aka Kendall's, retelling that she's doing of Midsummer Night's Dream.
Yes.
And it's not finished yet, but I was like, oh my God, it's so good. I love a retelling. And I love a retelling that hasn't been done a lot. And so I'm like, please, 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 for Lord of the Flies. I want to read it so bad.
I'll send it to you.
Please do.
Keep in mind, it's super weird. I think I talked about this when I was writing it. There's some elements that you're going to be like, where the heck did this come from? And I don't know,
judge.
But it's there.
Hi, so. I have a book idea that I've written like 4 chapters of titled Pregnant with Alien Baby.
That's right.
So
that's true.
I cannot judge you. I can't judge anybody.
Yeah, so you can tell me. It kind of delved a little bit into the horror genre, which feels okay for a Lord of the Flies retelling.
Yeah, it does.
So
it's kind of horrific already, to be honest. Yeah.
So yeah. That's
exciting.
Maybe that's a plan. I'll give it to you guys. And then if you can get it done within, like, I don't know, is a month reasonable?
Yes. Merry Christmas to me. Oh my God. This would make me so happy. Please do.
Yay. Okay.
I'm awaiting
Sounds like a plan. Got it.
Yay. Cool.
All right. What is your writing update, if you have one, hopefully?
Today, I wrote 2 sentences. So, ha-cha-cha. I have been thinking about this book constantly. I want to write so bad. I've just not had a chance. I was trying to get, before Puppy came, I was just like, I was working through my lunch breaks, trying to get as much work possibly done as I could, because I knew when Puppy came, like, I have to stop work and take her outside a few times. Like, it's very interruptive, which is not, is that a word? I don't think so, but I don't care.
I don't know. It seems like it should be.
Should be. It's very interruptive to have a puppy that needs to go outside and in very unpredictable times for 10 to 20 minutes at a time, because she takes forever to find somewhere to go to the bathroom. So I knew that was going to happen. And so I was also kind of hoping maybe if the puppy didn't use all that extra time, maybe I could like take a break here and there and get a little bit of writing done. It has not happened. There's a lot of actual work that I get paid to do that needs to be done, plus the puppy. And so all of that obviously is priority. But I did get to write on my lunch break like 2 sentences before the puppy woke up from a nap and was like, I need to go outside. And I was like, dang it, Ruby. And so, but I am thinking about it a lot, which we've said before is an important part of the writing process, and it does count. And that's what has been my problem in the past, I think, where I felt like I've not been making progress, is I've just like not been thinking about the books either. So I'm trying to like keep it like present in my headspace and think about it a lot. And so maybe tomorrow on my lunch break, I'll get to write some more, or after work tomorrow. But I do want to keep writing it. I am excited. It is the sci-fi book. And I think it has a lot of potential. I like it a lot. So I'm excited. And it's kind of my test book, like I said, because it's in 3rd person, because I think my magnum opus, my like masterpiece, is going to have to be 3rd person. And so I need practice writing in 3rd person. So I'm enjoying it. It's super fun. I'm hoping maybe I'll have some time after the holidays to write some more. I guess we'll see, because I do have the week after Christmas off, which is nice. And more than anything, though, I am super excited about this writing retreat that I'm trying to plan, that I'm trying to rope you and Ken into. It's some of our other writer friends. So if you have writer friends as well, you can reach out to them. I know.
I was thinking about it, and I was like, I think Ash is my writer friend. I think all the writing friends I have are through you. So.
Yeah, I mean, my hardcore, I know, are like dedicated writer friends are you and Spoons. I have a couple other friends who I'm like, I don't know if you just dabble in writing, or if I only know about it to the level of dabbling and you write a lot more than that. So I'm reaching out to my other writer friends too. But even if not, I think I really, really want to plan this writer's retreat for sometime between like March and August. Anytime in there, I feel like is not a bad time to do it. And it's a little bit cheaper for the places. And we could go somewhere that's like directly between you and us. And so I really,
I was thinking it happen. I was like thinking that you were trying for like January or February. And I was like kind of anxious about it, because like the surgery thing, I'm like, I don't know what the plan is. So once I know about that, that feels like a reasonable timeline. So
yeah,
that feels
so
good.
How about this then? You let me know when you schedule your surgery. Here's more motivation for you. Have to, because you have to come. And so I will schedule it for a time after your surgery when you're feeling good. So
I agree.
So yeah, so do
That
that.
sounds perfect. Yes, for
Yeah.
sure. I'm okay,
Yay.
good. I was like, I don't want to have to tell Ash that I can't do it because I want to do it. And I feel like I bail on you a lot. So now that that's the
No.
timeline, that I feel so much more comfortable
No,
with that. Good.
you have to be at the writing. You are a main
Yes.
part of this writing retreat.
It's
So
my writing retreat.
it's basically Carissa's writing retreat. Exactly.
Yeah.
So you schedule your surgery, let me know, and then we'll find a place and we'll put the deposit down or
Perfect.
whatever for the reservation. But I think we can do
Love
something
it.
really cool and fun. And I'm super psyched. And also because by then, Ruby, my puppy, will be a little bit bigger. And
That's
so
right.
she'll be house trained so she can come with us. And I'm excited.
Yay.
Yeah. And I'm thinking we're
Cool.
just gonna write and eat dinner together, maybe have a few drinks. And if there's a hot tub, we could always soak in the hot tub too, which sounds really fun. And then we just go back to writing. And I'm
It sounds
like
like the perfect time. That just
I
sounds like what I want
know.
my life to be.
Exactly. I'm like, I don't know how long I can afford to swing it for. Because like how much time I have to take off work or whatever. But in my head, I'm like, I know a week is a good idea. I know a week is a big challenge, both financially and focus wise. I know it's a lot to say that for a whole week because I'm going to like miss my family. I'm going to miss all my animals. And it's going to be asking a lot of my family to take care of the animals that are here and also of like trying to like figure out work time then. But I do know that a week is like typically like ideal. Or it might have to be just under a week. I don't know. So you let me know what your schedule is with your surgery, and
Sounds good.
we'll plan the retreat around that because you have to be there, or else it won't happen. You have to be there.
Yay.
So
I feel so special. Okay, good.
you are
I
so
feel good about that
special.
now.
Yay. Okay, sweet. So you let me know. I'm very excited about the writer's retreat. That and my book has been taking up a lot of headspace. Those two things because I'm very excited about the retreat.
Stuff.
And it is good stuff. So I don't know if I'll have this book finished by then or if that's what I'll be working on. I kind of feel like I should work on something a little bit more important for the writer's retreat because it's so rare that I get to take time away to go write.
Yeah.
So maybe I need to, when I'm not working on this book, start like really like planning for the book I'm going to do on the writer's retreat. Because I feel like I'm going to get a lot of good stuff done then. So
nice. Yeah, I can start brainstorming for that. What's the book you could get the most done in like 1 week? That's like there's enough there to work with.
Yeah, exactly. So I think that's my thing now. So I'm psyched. Cool. The holidays are coming up. We're having our Story Siren Studio 2nd annual Christmas party. So that's going to be fun. I need to make my host neuroses bingo sheet. Like we did
I made
last
mine yesterday.
year.
I'm excited.
Did you? I wrote it down today and I was like, oh, I got to do this. So if you guys were not there last year, no worries. We're doing it again this year. You guys can listen to last year if you're in the mood for some Christmas stuff. Otherwise, so this episode will be coming out our normal Friday. The next episode is going to be coming out on a Monday. So you'll get 2 TSS episodes pretty close together. So there won't be one next Friday. We love you guys. Sorry, it was just a lot of recording. And then we'll be back to our usual schedule. But you guys will be able to tune in here for our Story Siren Studio Christmas party. There'll be some writing topics, some reading topics, some fun games. It's just going to be a really good time. Hopefully you guys will be entertained. Yeah, that's what's happening next week. If you guys enjoy the pod, please leave us a review below. It really helps. And if there's something you guys want us to talk about on the pod that's like a writing topic, are you good? Did you just spill water on yourself?
I did. This has been happening to me a lot lately. Continue.
You have a drinking problem?
Yep. The tiny bit of water in my glass just went down my cheek. And it's water. I promise.
It was so graceful, just like when your dog threw up. It was just so graceful. I was like, did she just spill water? It was so you immediately were away. Like yeah, it was so subtle. I wouldn't have known. Anyways, if you guys want to see Karissa spill more stuff on herself, let us know. It's gonna happen anyway. Same with me. I was just listening to our SSS Christmas episode from last year, and and you spilled something in the episode, and I was like, "Ooh, bingo!" Yep. So that's the kind of fun that you guys are in for. But if there's something you guys want us to talk about, something you guys have been struggling with in your own writing, reach out. You guys can message us on Instagram or TikTok. We are the Scripturient Society. TikTok and Instagram both have loads of very funny videos. If you're a writer, you can definitely relate. Instagram has kind of tips and tricks and little summaries from our episodes. If you miss an episode, don't worry. You can still get what we've talked about at least a little bit on Instagram. You guys can message us there, or you can email us at contact@storysirenstudio.com. And perhaps the most exciting, if you want to support the pod, you guys can go to storysirenstudio.com or the scripturientsociety.com, same place. And we have a Christmas sweater and it's very fun. So cool. And it is cool. I think we said it last episode, but it's up for a limited amount of time. So if you guys want this Christmas sweater, get it now. I believe, what does it say again?
He sees you when you're writing. He sees you when you're insert method of procrastination here.
Excellent. I made the sweater and I still can't remember what I put on it, but I rely on Catherine for that. So thank you.
Yes. I have good memory.
It's good. And it's got like Christmas lights all over it. It's very cute. I want it very, very badly. So guys, go check it out if you guys want to support the pod and or just have some like fun writery Christmas merch. Let the world know that you're a writer and that you love the holidays. Go check it out. And I think that's everything we've got for you guys. So until next week, keep writing.
And we'll see you on the next page.